Hey guys, Dov here with another replay between myself and Escopa, Game 2 in the German tournament. I should mention that this is organized by the Hamster Army from Exploding Hamster. Some of you may know him from like the Content Creators Tournament. He's the one that actually eliminated me. Very good player, a swell dude, and he runs a German-speaking channel, I want to say, on Twitch. I'll confirm that and post a link in the description below if I do confirm that. For you German speakers out there, if you don't already know about his channel, you should. Let me go check it out. But continuing on the theme here, my opponent picked Greenskins, so I thought, we did Empire last time. Let's keep going with the humans. We've got Bretonnia, and specifically my patented 4 Hippogriff build here. We've got a Lord with his retinue of Royal Hippogriff Knights, Henri le Massif with his retinue, with a life caster to keep everyone alive, a Knights Errant on the ground protecting some peasants who will do their duty, especially the mobs up front who will die in droves, no doubt. Got a couple peasant bowmen just for some utility. And that's pretty much it for the Greenskin Horde arrayed against us here. It's going to be led by a Night Goblin Warboss on a Squig, which is actually a pretty strong choice in my opinion. Not something you see every day, but people forget this guy's got Tormentor Sword, which is one of the best items in the game. Very nice for snaring units in place. He's also got this Expert Charge Defense, which can definitely come in handy against Bretonnia. Lots of boys. We've got boys with chevrons here, 32-28 in terms of their chevrons. He's also got some ROR Night Goblins here, lots of archers, Air Boys, Rusty Airs, Night Goblin Archers, so some utility there. Skulkers and Squigs with Hammer of Gork and a Rock Lobber. So you can see straight up, I'm going to be very aggressive here and just start face charging the units that are a danger to me, right? This is what I talk about. When I talk about win condition, this is what I'm talking about. Just go after the units that are a threat to you directly, right? So we've got Skulkers and we've got Biggins here, both of which are a threat to me, absolutely. You can see my opponent comes in there with that smoke bomb, I believe. I'm going to do some good damage, but you can see just the shock damage here is pretty legit. My opponent is focus firing on my Lord pretty effectively, though. You can see he's taking a ton of damage here, so yeah, I can't even talk almost, it's so much damage. But here come the Knights Errant. They're going to trigger rear charge penalties and try and make sure we get an effective terror route here. You can see the peasant mob just kind of moving in, just mass blobbing in basically as we continue to just wreck on this flank here as much as possible. The Biggins have proven a little bit of a tough target, but finally we're able to get them terrified away. Haven't lost any models yet on any of the Hippogriff Knights. Henri is relatively healthy as well, so that's good stuff. Next, we're going to go straight towards the heart of the Horde. I mean, this is as chivalrous as it gets, right? There's no peasants to support here. There's only the Hippogriff Knights, 2 groups of them, Henri and the Lord, and they are all going to run in here and start to ground and pound against this Orc Airboy squad. Granted, Orc Airboys are no slouch, and the Goblin also comes in here. He's all juiced up, spite of the bad moon. He also pops his leadership buff. Make sure everyone stand and fight. He's got this unit of Biggins here. You can see my Lord has taken a ton of damage, almost to his healing cap already. He doesn't have a lot of HP to begin with, to be honest. And he is just getting wrecked by this nasty little gobbo on a Squig. You can hardly even see him. He's so small in this engagement. You can see the Knights Errant trying to screen for their Lord here. But the Error Boy fire, those that were able to disengage here, you can see it's actually, yeah, 1 Error Boy, Rusty Airs as well, doing a ton of damage. That Lord's armor is sundered. Smoke Bomb, Tormentor Sword now as well. Just all of the effects there, pinning units in place. The Tormentor Sword also lowers melee attack, which is quite nice. But my Lord is able to barely squeak back up into the air there with about 600 HP left. And if we take kind of an overarching look at the battlefield, you can see the frontline engagement didn't go great for my peasants, as you would expect, but due to the numbers, we can kind of start to isolate units that have overran here too much and kind of take them out piecemeal a little bit. The rest of my opponent's formation is doing a good job of staying relatively tight here, and now we are taking some significant damage on these Royal Hippogriff Knights, so I do need to be careful. Magic Missile from that Orc Shaman there, and it looks like we're going to get another Magic Missile from the Night Goblin Shaman. Will it be enough? Oh, down to 420. Dank Lord just surviving until the end here. We've still got a little bit of magic potentially from that damsel to be able to heal her, but I just want to kind of hang around with the Lord if I can and keep him alive. Another wall being popped, though, as the goblin has done his work, still alive, very healthy, actually. All things considered, that is quite impressive, but you can see me in the periphery here. I've cleaned up quite a few routing units with these Knights Errant, which is very important. Any units that get isolated from this main horde here are just going to get picked off by my mobility, and that's kind of the name of the game. You can see my opponent has, again, kind of regrouped here. He's staying nice and tight, but this unit gets isolated here. The Lord, though he is tattered, drops down lower than 400 HP at one point there. Catches a heal from the damsel and is going to get a little bit of HP there up to his healing cap. These boys, they have some stats. They're veteran boys, but they're still going to get isolated there and just taken out, terrified, and so on. So yeah, beginning phase 2 of the battle here. 5 minutes of slugging, and we've managed to take out both the artillery pieces, which was pretty key. Managed to take out a lot of the biggins, all of the skulkers. So a lot of the kind of priority units here have been dealt with. These bowmen are largely still online, which doesn't make me too happy, but we've done quite a bit of damage to them. And yeah, the squigs are the only mobility to speak of, so they get the hammer, or should I say the lance. Maybe? Nope, looks like we actually barely made contact with 2 of them. Henri did, and managed to proc them to enrage somehow straight into those peasant mobs. You can see me chasing off those orc boys there. I'm rallying with some of my units, and here we go. Again, the bowmen I see as the greatest threat at this point, even though we do still have these biggins as well. They're going to run in here, and due to the Tormentor Sword usage, very nicely done. I'm actually going to get a little bit isolated here, where Henri is fighting separated. Granted, Henri is a good enough combatant, even just here on the ground without his charge bonus, that he'll be able to do a lot of damage to this Night Goblin War Boss, so this isn't the worst situation for me. I'm actually more than happy to take this engagement against this little gobbo. You can see the other unit of Hippogriff Knights lands there in the big scrum of bowmen, but we're going to keep it close as Henri fights this nasty little gobbo. The gobbo isn't too big of a fan of that, so he's going to hop on away on his squig. But at this point, I have a pretty good situation where I can come in with the Lord, pop stand your ground. We get on the one side, isolate. Henri comes on the other side, and that is just, oh man, oh, sad day for Squig Lord. Despite his best efforts here, he is just a gobbo on a squig and gets absolutely mauled in seconds by angry hippogriffs. With his death, that is going to put a significant dent in the balance of power, as you would imagine. All these Greenskins units are now going to very easily get terrified here. We do still have the Unbreakable Gobbos technically still fighting here, but as for the rest, they are pretty much done for. There are some Spider Rider archers who I've neglected the whole time. I don't know if my opponent actually forgot about them as well. I didn't quite see where they came from, but they're here now, and they're taking some losses. Trying to take down my damsel, but Knights Errant are going to come through. The remaining Hippogriff Knights are going to come through. And did my Lord actually survive all of that? I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like he actually did. Wow, that's quite impressive. Despite everything, despite the massive damage he took early on, just getting his face filled with arrows there, still managed to survive into the late game. So well played to my opponent. As a best of 3 series, that means I'll take that one. It is a group stage. I'll provide a link to the challenge as well, so you guys can track my progress if you want to through the tournament. But yeah, I'll take that best of 3 in the group phase. That means I've got to play a couple more still. As it is, though, a very fun battle. I'm a huge fan of this build against Greenskins and just a lot of factions in general. 4 Hippogriffs is a lot to deal with. Henri is also a powerhouse character in and of himself. I mean, he's not quite on the level of somebody like Franz or, like Kolek. I'd say he's maybe like 1 tier below that, but he is still a very strong melee combatant character. And especially against the Greenskins, who, I mean, let's be honest, they really don't have like a super strong combatant character, which is kind of ridiculous when you actually say it out loud. But like Skarsnik can do okay, definitely in some situations. But Henri, I'd be interested. I'd be interested to see those 2 square off. Yeah, as far as the rest goes, I mean, obviously the Hippogriff's doing some very heavy lifting. Even the Knights Errant, though, the key here is to kind of use them to provide those rear charge penalties, and then also to chase routing units when they get terrified away. and all 3 units racked up some impressive kill totals, and granted, my opponent brought a very large army in terms of model count. Definitely a veritable horde, if you will, but 107 kills, XP Chevron 98, 120 there, 109 for the Hippogriffs, and they got 1 Chevron, 153 and 2 for these guys, so that's great. 61 for Henri, only 21 for the Lord, but again, he's just kind of there as a tertiary terror and as a somewhat of a decent combatant as well. Him plus Henri is quite a bit to deal with for a lot of characters, but very often your Lord does kind of get beat down. And yeah, you can even say that he acts as the tank in this army sometimes, if your opponent's going after him like that. But my opponent's side, Squigs definitely got in and got some great damage done. You would expect some high kill totals on the Orc boys in the front line, just mowing through peasants. Pretty much what happened. Not too many surprises there. 167 for the 8 Loons as well. I didn't catch their Fanatics. I'm sure they got some great Fanatics casts, which makes me a little sad I didn't see them, but still. The Rock Lobbers are pretty interesting. I think, honestly, I prefer Doom Divers for a very specific reason here. Doom Divers are actually probably the best artillery piece for shooting at flying units, weirdly enough, because of the homing and the way the missiles work. They kind of go up in the air and then home in on whatever is flying around, and it's really hard to dodge. For something like a Hippogriff, like smaller hitbox. I haven't tried against Pegasi, but I would imagine even for a smaller hitbox like a Pegasi, it'd still be relatively hard to dodge. So for me personally, for the artillery choice here, I would say you could find the funds to maybe switch one or both of these to the Doom Divers, and I think those are going to function a little bit more efficiently in this matchup because you can actually go after your opponent's really high value stuff up in the air. Other than that, though, very fun battle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.